Shunnyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I offer my humble obeisances to all the devotees who have assembled here. And the topic for today is Vaishnava-aparadh, the mad elephant offense. Very serious topic. Right? You want serious topic or should we discuss something light? But somehow it was selected in the series of topics. So I just take. Just now I saw I made PPT long back, so I thought let me just show also. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yesterday or a couple of days back, I think, we were discussing that we get the seed of bhakti, it's resounding. We get the seed of bhakti from a bona fide spiritual master, and that seed of bhakti will grow into bhakti lata, the devotional creeper, by regularly nourishing that seed with water. And that water is, yes, Shravanam and Kirtanam. By hearing and by chanting, the seed of bhakti is nourished. But just watering the seed is not sufficient. We should also have the fertility of soil. Yesterday only we were discussing, right? What is the fertility compared with? Good qualities, Vaishnava qualities, humility, compassion, gratitude, satisfaction, tolerance, respect. So these are the qualities that represent the fertility of soil. And there's one more thing that is needed. That's what we are discussing today. So soil may be fertile, and your watering process is great, and you have the potent seed. But we should also try to protect that seed from attacks of animals. Right? The seed is growing nicely. It's sprouted into a plant, and some goat came and ate that plant. Plant reach the word of the Lord. So you need to protect that plant with a fence. But if you don't protect the plant, then the plant will not grow. The plant may be attacked by unnecessary, unwanted dangers. So it is said that this offense to Vaishnavas is like mad elephant offense. When a mad elephant comes into a garden, it can uproot all the plants and trees and creepers, right? Similarly, when we offend Vaishnavas, our devotional creeper will not grow properly. Okay. So offending other devotees is like allowing an elephant to enter the garden and trample all the plants and creepers. So we need to be very careful. Yes, Prabhu, go ahead. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Is there any remote or something else that I can change that makes life easy? We can change the slides forward and backward. Yeah, it's okay. Then you can make it very alert. Okay, go ahead. So devotees are very dear to Krishna. Go back. Devotees are so dear to the Lord, and the Lord is within the hearts of the devotees, and the Lord keeps the devotees within His heart. Two things. He's there in their hearts, and he keeps them within His heart also. Therefore, when we offend a devotee, we are hurting Krishna's heart. Okay, we are not only hurting the devotees, but we are actually hurting Krishna's heart. And associating with devotees is an integral part of bhakti, but offending devotees is very detrimental to bhakti. So we need to be very careful in our dealings with devotees. Sound system can be adjusted a little bit. Lot of resound and Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Volume can be more, but resound the effect can be less. Hare Krishna. So go ahead. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's perfect. Thank you. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have this shloka. Yadi Vaishnava-aparadh uthe hati matam upade va chinde tara sukhiyaya patam. As a mad elephant may trample all the plants in a garden, so by committing one offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, one may spoil all the devotional service he has accumulated in his life. You are making progress nicely, but if we offend devotees, then it becomes very difficult for us to access the devotional credits that we ourselves have gained. We may not lose the bhakti that we have already gained, but we'll lose access to that bhakti. Okay, whatever little bit of bhakti that we have done will go into our eternal bank account. It goes into our eternal credit. Nehabhikramana sosti pratyavayo na vidyati svalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So even little bit of bhakti that is rendered will go into our eternal spiritual bank account, and it will help us in dangers. However, we lose access to the bank account. You have a lot of money in the bank account, but you don't have the password, or you lost the credit card, or you forgot the PIN code, whatever. I don't know how money is transacted nowadays. I don't have any cards. So we lose access to our own treasure of bhakti to the degree we offend devotees. What exactly is offending devotees? We'll discuss, and please don't get scared that we're going to discuss some very heavy principles only today, but we'll discuss some stories also. The message becomes very clear when we explain it through a story. So, you like stories, right? So, what will happen if a devotee offends another devotee? So, let's discuss this with examples, as many examples as possible, so that the message becomes clear. Go ahead. Yes, you keep pressing. I'll say so. Blaspheming, insulting, harming devotees will hurt Krishna's heart, and it destroys the pious and spiritual credits one has amassed with great endeavor. To advance in bhakti is not a small thing. We have made some little advancement. We have amassed a lot of spiritual credits. So it's not that easy to get into the path of bhakti and accumulate some spiritual credits. But if we are not cautious enough, conscious enough, we will lose what we have gained also, or we lose access to what we have gained. So we need to be very careful. So what happens is, when we advance in bhakti to some degree, there could be some overconfidence. The other day I was saying, somebody has put a ladder from here to the top floor. So if you climb 2-3 steps and then fall from there, you can just balance yourself, or you may just hurt your leg, and then you can recover from it very faster. But if you fall from 40th step, you'll break our hand or leg or head, right? So what happens in bhakti is, initially we are very careful, we are very respectful to devotees. As soon as we see a devotee, oh, we are a devotee, you're chanting Hare Krishna. You're chanting 60 notes, I just chant one round only. I'm chanting one round only. We are reading Bhagavad Gita, I'm just reading on the way to Krishna. So initially, when we are very new, then we are very respectful to devotees and we follow all etiquettes. But when we become little seasoned, just 5 years, 10 years past, and we become familiar with all the aspects of devotional service, we have seen all dhams, we have heard all stories from Bhagavatam, we know some shlokas from Bhagavad Gita also. We have done some services. So because of our close association with devotees, we may take them for granted. There is a possibility of becoming very familiar with the devotees, and that familiarity could lead to contempt. Familiarity leads to contempt. Because of our closeness towards devotees, we sometimes may not recognize their glory. We may take them for granted, and that will lead to offenses. So Somebody is climbing the steps of bhakti, right? 2, 3 steps, 4 steps. So they felt very happy. Yes, I'm advancing nicely. Then 10th step, they felt even more happy. Then 15th step, they became very confident. 20th step, confidence became overconfidence. 25th step, overconfidence became pride. 25th step, that pride became inattentiveness. Okay, when we become inattentive, we fall from there. So we need to be attentive not only while chanting, we need to be very attentive in our dealings with devotees. Okay, conscious chanting and conscious dealings with other devotees, very important. We should learn to respect every devotee, whether they are new or old or young or uh, experienced or seniors or juniors. We need to learn to respect all the devotees for what they are. Sometimes some devotees may contribute so much. Sometimes some devotees may do very small sevas. They may just distribute charanamrit in the temple, but they are doing seva, right? So we need to learn to respect the devotees for whatever they are able to contribute, for whatever service that they are doing, and we can definitely help them grow more than that. But when we get into this superiority complex or inferiority complex, when we think I am doing more service and they are not doing as much service as me, when we become proud of our contributions, we inevitably disrespect other devotees. We may not literally, physically do it, but some disrespectful feelings may enter the mind. And when that feelings, if they are not curbed or eliminated immediately, the feelings can become expressions verbally, actions physically. So verbal expressions and physical actions have their root in internal emotions. So internally, when we are not having sufficient respect for devotees, although externally we say, "Oh, Hari Bol, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji." So externally we may show some respect, but internally, if we don't carry that respect, sooner or later the disrespect will come in our words and actions also, right? So we need to learn to value the contributions of devotees, their contribution to our spiritual life, and then cautiously, consciously, attentively, respectfully uh, deal with other devotees. Then we are good. So Narada Muni in the fourth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam gives an important formula how to avoid offenses and how to deal properly with the devotees of multiple categories. Okay, one little shloka you can also see. Gunadhikan mudam lipsed Anukrosham gunadhamat Maitrim samanadan vichem Natapair abhibhuyate. This shloka describes how to deal with 3 types of devotees. How many of you know this shloka? Okay, fine. Everything is suspense now. No problem. You don't know? We shared it. You know the shloka? Good. We already discussed in our kids' classes. Many kids know this. So, Guna Adhikan Mudam Lipse. This shloka describes how to deal with 3 types of people. Okay. Who are the 3 types of people whom we deal with? Whomever you meet, they belong to one of these 3 categories. If there is a new category, you let me know. Right? So, one category is they are greater than us. They are superior to us in some way, either in age or experience or skills or talents or contributions or the time spent in Krishna consciousness or whatever it may be. They are better than us, right? One category. They're superior to us. Second category is they're younger than us, either in age or experience or service contributions or the number of books that you have read, number of books you have distributed, whatever it may be, they are little younger to us, they're junior to you. Okay. You are in a little better plane than them in terms of these parameters. Okay. They're senior, they're junior, they're new. They're 5 years old, you may be 10 years old, something like that. Okay. They're younger than. That is second category. Clear? Third category, they're equal to you. You both came together to the path of bhakti. You both are doing similar services. In some way, they're equal to you. So, seniors, juniors, equals. 3 categories of devotees whom we meet. Agreed? Anyone else? Any other categories? You may have multiple categories, all of them can fit into one of these categories. There are peers, or seniors, or juniors. Clear? Now, how to deal with them? First category. Gunadhikan mudam lipset. When they are seniors to you, guna adhikan, they have more qualities than you, they have more experience than you. Okay? Then mudam lipset, be happy. Don't envy. When we see a person who is better than us, we may sometimes feel envious. Why he is so better than me? Why he is singing better than me? Why he is speaking better than me? Why he is distributing more books than me? Why that person's DT decoration is more beautiful than mine? Okay, so we may get into little comparison and we may start envying them sometimes, right? So the suggestion given by Narada Muni is don't envy seniors, learn from seniors. Be humble, be obedient, be happy that you finally have a person who knows better than you and you can learn from that person. Okay, so that's the mood in which we deal with seniors. Clear? Clear? Then next category. Anukrosham gunadhamat. How to deal with juniors? Seniors we have seen. How to deal with seniors? What to do, what not to do. Tell me these two things. Don't envy, be happy. Try to learn. Fine? Then juniors. Anukrosham gunadhamat. Gunadhamat means they are less qualified than you. Maybe you have spent more time in Krishna consciousness than them. Maybe you are more experienced. You may be teacher, they may be students. You may be 30 years old, they may be 20 years old, something like that. So you are more experienced. Anukrosham, be compassionate, be kind, be very kind and extend a helping hand to uplift them, to support them, to raise them up. Don't oppress them, don't suppress them, don't dominate them, don't demean them, don't discourage them. Hey, I know so much. What do you know? Bacha. So you're a kid. So don't say like that. We may not literally say that, but sometimes there's a feeling within. I don't know much. There is some kind of a sense of superiority complex that an immature devotee may feel because of one's quote unquote seniority. Okay, so we should not do like that. We should be very kind to the younger ones. Clear? Then what is the third category? Equals. Equals. The general tendency of an average person when he or she meets an equal is to compete. How can this person be equal to me? I should somehow make myself better than this person. Okay, I should establish myself a little better. I need to go higher than this person. I should become better. So that kind of mentality may be there. So once when I was in fourth standard, there was one student who had who always get first rank. I'm in second or third in those days. Okay, so in our English subject, he got 24 out of 25 in one unit test. I also got 24 out of 25. So we become equals. He was first rank, I was second rank, but somehow we became equals that time. Then he was saying, well, how could you be equal to me? Okay, fine. Can you show me your paper, answer sheet? In those days, our teacher would check the answer sheet and give the sheets back to us. So he saw my answer sheet. He scrutinizingly examined. He found one mistake. Right? He showed here is a mistake. Oh, really? Then next dialogue is, let's go to the teacher. I said, okay, fine, let's go. So he took me to the teacher, showed the paper, and I just showed the paper. Yes, it is a mistake, teacher. You have given extra mark here. Then teacher said, yes, there is spelling mistake here. She has cut half mark. So now I got 23 and half, 23.5 out of 25, and he got 24. He said. And after that, he also said, I was thinking, how can you get better marks than me? Or how can you be equal to me? He was satisfied. I was satisfied. 23 and a half, 24 kya fark padta hai. So I was, okay. So sometimes there is a competitive spirit so much that we cannot tolerate someone else coming equal to us, forget being better than us. See, when that someone is like too experienced than us, when the gap is so much, we can accept it. Yes, he's senior and I'm junior. But when we are almost equals, we always feel like we want to be better than them, not less than them. So, but the suggestion given by Narada Muni is Maitrim samana, then vichen samana. If other person is equally qualified like you do maitri, friendship. Befriend them, don't compete with them. Okay? So let's summarize the three dealings. If you meet seniors, what will you do? What to do, what not to do? Don't envy, be happy. Equals, juniors?
Don't discourage,
Uh,
don't demean them.
yeah.
Be
Yes. Be compassionate and don't discourage them. Don't oppress or suppress them. If you meet an equal, befriend them, don't compete with them. Okay? Clear? If we deal with the three categories of people that we meet in our life in these three ways, nata apai ravi bhuyate, there will not be any relationship problems. There will not be any Vaishnava-aparadhs. Right? If we deal with senior Vaishnavas with respect, actually we should respect all Vaishnavas, but senior Vaishnavas deserve more respect. Uh, and friendly devotees, they also should respect them like a friend. And younger people, you respect them like a student, right? You're older and they're younger, still they deserve some respect. Okay. So when our dealings with other people are in this way, we will not commit Vaishnava aparadhs. But when our behavior, our demeanor, our basically internal mentality is different from this, then problems will come, offenses will happen. Yes, let's discuss a few stories. Go ahead, Dhruv. First story. Ambrish Maharaj and Durvasmani. All of you know this story. I will not repeat the full story, but I will summarize it and let's learn lessons on Vaishnava-aparadh from the story. As you know, Ambrish Maharaj was performing his Ekadashi Vrata. He was fasting. And on Dwadashi, he was about to break his fast. Then Durvasmani came to his home as a guest. And Ambrish Maharaj very, very respectfully invited Durvasamuni and requested him, can you please take some meals at my home? Durvasamuni said, yes, of course, I'll take meals. But first I'll take bath before taking meals. Let me go to the river, Yamuna, take bath and come back, then I'll take meals, you just wait. And Durvasamuni went. Ambrish was waiting. But Durvasamuni was delaying. He did not come back. And Ambrish Maharaj had to break his fast at a prescribed time because Ekadashi, when you perform Ekadashi fast, a recommended time is given in which you have to break fast. And those auspicious moments are passing. Ambrish became a little anxious. If I eat before feeding Durvasamani, I would be offending a Brahmana guest. But if I don't break my fast at this prescribed time, I will be not following the rule of Ekadashi. How do you honor both? So he introspected. Then he felt taking water is considered eating and not eating also. So let me take a little water. Just little water he has taken. That's considered eating and not eating. He kind of honored the Brahmana guest by not eating before him. And he also honored Ekadashi Vrata by breaking some fast. In those days, Ekadashi Vrata is not like Ekadashi pizza, Ekadashi dosa, Ekadashi salad. It is no water also. But please eat properly. And Ekadashi, if you cannot handle full Nirjal fast, health is important. We are Kali Yuga bodies, right? So I'm not advertising anything here. So he took little water. Meanwhile, Durvasmani came. And with his mystic powers, he understood that Ambrish Maharaj has taken water. Before feeding me, he accepted some food. That is too much. Ambrish Maharaj became furious. You are a king, you are a Vaishnava king. Don't you have the culture and etiquette that you have to respect your guest? Don't you know that you have to feed your guest before you eat something? You have eaten before, he did not eat. He only drank little water, that's all. But Durvasamani, out of his false ego, he became furious. And he wanted to kill Ambrish Maharaj for this insignificant offense. Actually not an offense. Technically speaking, Ambrish Maharaj did not offend Durvasamani. But Durvasamani got offended. Sometimes it happens like that. Even if you don't offend someone, other person gets offended. Even if offending the other person is not there in your intention or in your action, they perceive offense and they get offended. They get into Manlila. They will not talk to you. They'll turn their face away from you. Right? Don't talk to me. So it happens. So Durvasamani was like that. So Durvasamani, he created a fiery demon Generally, the bodies are made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. But here is a demon whose body is made of fire, only fire element, nothing else. And he's holding a fiery trident. And this fiery demon, which is created by Durvasa Muni, was coming towards Ambarish Maharaj to kill him. Ambarish Maharaj did not move even 1 millimeter from where he was standing. He was thinking, Krishna, if this is what you want me to undergo, let me just face it. I'll face it, no problem. If another Kshatriya had confronted with Ambarish, probably he would have fought. But he is a Brahmana, a sannyasi, a sage. He has taken an action. So, considering the position, the stature of Durvasa Muni, Ambarish Maharaj did not respond, did not confront with him. He just kept quiet. I should not confront with a Brahmana. He's superior to me in some way. So let me just keep quiet. So he just kept quiet. But although the devotee keeps quiet, the Lord will not keep quiet. The Supreme Lord Vishnu has already chakra for the protection of Ambarish Maharaj. He said, Ambarish Maharaj so much Sudarshan, you go and stay in his home only. Sudarshan chakra was not with you, it is with Ambarish Maharaj at that time. So that Sudarshan chakra came out and burned this fiery demon to ashes. Can you burn fire to ashes? So fire was burnt to nothing basically. So Ambarish Maharaj was protected by this Sudarshan chakra. And Sudarshan chakra, after destroying that fiery demon, he did not stop. Sudarshan chakra started chasing Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni understood, my God, the Sudarshan chakra is coming to attack me. He could figure it out. Then he started running away. He went to Meru mountain. Then he went to Shivaloka, he went to Brahmaloka, he went to so many places. And wherever he was going, this Sudarshan chakra was chasing Durvasa Muni. And when he went to Brahma, he said, Brahma said, I cannot protect you because you have offended a Vishnu Bhakta, a Vaishnava. You have offended a devotee of the Supreme Lord, and he has taken a decision to punish you. Who am I to protect you? Even Brahma cannot protect you if you perform Vaishnava-aparadh. Then Shiva said the same thing. We are all dependent on the Lord. All these devatas, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, Marut, Surya, Soma, all these people are dependent on the Supreme Lord, Vishnu. If you have offended a devotee of Vishnu, and if Vishnu has taken a decision to kill you or punish you in some way, who are we to object? So Shiva said, no, we cannot. Then Durvasa Muni went to Vaikuntha also. He has mystic powers. He's a great yogi. He was given entrance into Vaikuntha also. Vaikuntha is a place where there is no kuntha, no anxiety. But Durvasa Muni entered Vaikuntha with so much kuntha, with so much of anxiety in his mind. He was suffering, he's struggling. So he entered Vaikuntha and fell at the feet of Lord Narayana and said, Narayana, please protect me. I said, what protection? So he said, Sudarshan Chakra, your Sudarshan Chakra is chasing me. Then Narayana said, why is it chasing you? The whole incident, Narayana knows. Because you have offended my devotee, this is the punishment that you are supposed to experience. I cannot protect you. He said, you are the Supreme Lord. I have taken your shelter. You are supposed to give protection to whoever takes shelter of you. You are Pranatapala. Pranatapala means when you offer pranams to the Lord will take your responsibility upon himself and he will protect you. Pranatapala. And you are also Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Right? You love Brahmanas. I am a Brahmana. Please protect me. Then Vishnu said, you are a Brahmana, but he is a Vaishnava. I love Vaishnavas more than Brahmanas. Right? Vaishnava is a real Brahmana. You are just namesake Brahmana only. When you tried to kill Ambarish Maharaj with your fiery demon, Ambarish did not move even 1 inch from there. And when Sudarshan Chakra was attacking you, you are doing Brahmanda Brahman. You are wandering all over the universe. He is not attached to his body, you are attached to your body. No, this person, Durvasa Muni, all respects to him, but we are just learning from the behavior of Durvasa Muni, what not to do. Okay, so when we are reading scriptures, we should learn what not to do from the behavior of great souls without offending them. Right? If you offend some of these people, we may commit offense also. So, but we should learn what not to do. Durvasa Muni, he was very egoistic. He felt that I'm sannyasi and he's a grihastha. I'm superior to him. I am a Brahmana, he is a Kshatriya, I am superior to him. From Varna perspective, from Ashram perspective, I am on a higher plane and Amrish is very low plane. That is his perspective. But Krishna has a different perspective. Krishna doesn't see from Varna perspective or Ashram perspective. He will see how much love, how much devotion that this person has for me. That's Krishna does. Krishna sees things from a spiritual perspective, not from material perspective. So Krishna said, you may be Brahmana, you may be sannyasi, it doesn't make any difference to me. He is my devotee. Ambarish is devotee. Although Ambarish, Varna level and Ashram level, he's somewhere here, but from devotional level, he's there, and Durvasa is here. So Krishna loves his devotees and he cannot tolerate. He said, Durvasa Muni, you have offended my devotee. You have to be punished. Then Durvasa Muni argued with the Lord. He said, my dear Lord, between Ekadashi Vrata and serving a Brahmana guest, which is priority? Which is more important? You tell me. Now he followed Ekadashi Vrata, I understand, but he offended a Brahmana guest, right? What about that? You are Brahmanya Devaya. Then Vishnu said, if you don't know Shastra, go and learn from Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj doesn't do anything without my inspiration. It is me who has inspired him to take water and break his fast. Thus, by taking water to break his fast, he respected Ekadashi Vrata and he respected you also as a Brahmana guest. He did justice to both. And you don't know the finer nuances of Shastras. You only have ego. He became so furious just because he took little water. He respected you also. And I am the one who has inspired him. Do you know Shastra more than me? No. Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda videva chaham. Supreme Lord Vishnu is saying that this Ambarish Maharaj behaved exactly according to Shastra. And you are behaving egoistically. And he said, I am not, when you went to Shiva, when you went to Brahma, what did they tell you? They told you that they are not independent, right? I am also saying the same thing. I am also not independent. Vishnu is saying that I am not independent. I am dependent on my devotees. Aham bhakta paradhino yasvatantra iva dvijah. So sadhu birgrasta hridayo bhaktair bhakta jana priyah. I am bhakta paradhino. I am a soul, not soul, super soul, completely surrendered unto my devotees. Okay, so I am a person who is totally surrendered to my devotees. When my heart is completely captivated with the love and affection of my devotees, when my devotees are hurt, I get hurt. Durvasana said, oh, you are hurt? I'm sorry. Then Vishnu said, you are saying sorry to me? I'm not here. Naham tishtami vaikunthe. I'm not here. I am in Ambarish's heart. You go and beg forgiveness. Then I will forgive you from within his heart. Okay. You will not get forgiveness in Vaikuntha, by the way. You have offended my devotee. You should go to my devotee, fall at his feet. Then I will see you while sitting in the balcony of my heart, of my devotee's heart. I will see you from there. Then you are surrendering. You are bowing down in front of my devotee. Then I will forgive you. And he will even not forgive you because there is no question of forgiveness only. Devotee never takes any offense. Where is the question of forgiveness? Because after some time, Ambarish Maharaj will go and fall at the feet of, Durvasa Muni went and fall at the feet of Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj did not say that, oh, I forgave you, my dear says. No problem, don't worry. Okay, maaf kar diya. He didn't say that. He felt so embarrassed. He felt so awkward. I got such a great sage, a sannyasi, a brahmana falling at my feet. He felt very awkward. He just was pulling his feet back and he offered prayers to Sudarshan Chakra. Sudarshan Chakra, please don't burn him. If at all I have any spiritual credits, take all those spiritual credits. In exchange of all the spiritual credits of my dynasty, please protect the life of this one Brahmana. Here is this Brahmana Durvasa Muni tried to kill Ambarish Maharaj, and Ambarish Maharaj is exchanging all his spiritual credits to protect the life of Durvasa Muni. To that degree, a devotee is forgiving, kind, compassionate. There's no question of forgiveness only, because he doesn't take offense only. So devotees have that much tolerance. And if we happen to offend such devotees, what will happen to us? So Durvasa Muni became so impressed. So we hurt the heart of Krishna when we offend devotees, because Krishna is there in devotees' heart and devotees are there in Krishna's heart. So let us not hurt Krishna by hurting devotees. And when we hurt devotees, there is no shelter in the universe. Durvasa Muni did not get shelter anywhere in the universe. Brahma said, I will not protect you. Shiva said, I will not protect you. What to speak of others? Now, the Ravana, he kidnapped Mother Sita, isn't it? When Ravana kidnapped Mother Sita, Ravana already had so many blessings from Devatas, Shiva, Brahma, and all. But did they come to protect Ravana? No. When Ram has decided to punish Ravana for offending Sita, offending so many devotees, no Devata protected him. Even Devatas cannot protect if you offend Vaishnavas. You may think, ye kaun hai? Brahma hai kya? Shiva hai kya? No, he may not be Brahma and Shiva, he may be struggling sadhaka. But because he has taken shelter of Krishna, that person has become dear to Krishna, and if you offend that devotee, Krishna will get hurt. Then Brahma also cannot give us protection, Shiva also cannot give protection if Krishna decides to punish us. Right? Next, go ahead. So this is false ego. Although Vishnu was telling Durvasa Muni was arguing with Vishnu. I'm a Brahmana and you love Brahmanas, you should be on my side. Why are you on the side of the king who is on the earth planet, Ambrish Maharaj? So because of false ego, we offend another person. And because of that same false ego, we cannot say sorry. We cannot apologize. False ego that made us offend another devotee, that same false ego will also block us from begging forgiveness from the devotee. If we don't beg forgiveness from devotee, how will we be relieved from that offense? For us to be relieved from the offense that we have committed to another Vaishnava, we have to beg forgiveness. That's the only way. Lord Vishnu also did not forgive Durvasa Muni. Only when Durvasa Muni fell at the feet of Ambrish Maharaj, he was relieved from Sudarshan Chakra. He took shelter of Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, and so many other people, so many other places. There is no shelter in the entire universe. There is shelter only at the feet of the Vaishnava whom you have offended. If I have offended one devotee, I should fall at the feet of that devotee only. We cannot, no one else can relieve me from that pain, from that effect of that offense. Only that devotee has the ability to forgive us, and if he is pleased with us, and if he apologizes, and if Krishna notices that we have genuinely said sorry to that devotee, the devotee may not mind. He may not take offense also, because they are devotees. But Krishna should see that we have genuinely sorry. We have genuinely repented for our mistake. Then Krishna will relieve us from that reaction. So the only way to protect ourselves from the reaction to an offense to a Vaishnava is to sincerely beg forgiveness and, if possible, render service to the devotee also. So false ego causes our offensive behavior and prevents us to seek forgiveness. But if only we keep aside our false ego and humble ourselves and beg forgiveness, then we become recipients of Krishna's grace and devotee's grace. Okay. So this is the lesson from Durvasa Muni's story. We saw the problem and we saw the solution also. Problem is false ego, superiority complex. Okay. So he is not following the principle of Gunajika Mudam Lipchet Anukrosham Gunadhamat. Initially he thought Ambrish Maharaj is Gunadhamat. He is younger than me. I am better than him. He had a sense of superiority complex. Okay, even if you are superior to that person, then you should be Anukrosham, right? But he did not show Anukrosha. When a younger person does a mistake, you should correct them lovingly, not kill them. But he is trying to kill them. And technically speaking, Ambrish is much higher than Durvasa Muni. But Durvasa Muni was never kind or respectful. He is offensive. Next, we'll discuss one more story. This is the story of Jada Bharat. You know Jada Bharat? So there is a great king named Bharat Maharaj, and he ruled for thousands and thousands and thousands of years this earth planet. And he retired, and he performed so many austerities and worship of the Supreme Lord Vishnu at Pulahashrama. But somehow he became attached to a deer, and he became a deer in the next life. But although he became a deer, he had the consciousness of a devotee. In a deer body, he was meditating on Vishnu, and eventually he gave up the deer body and attained the Brahmana body as Jada Bharat. And as Jada Bharat, he was constantly meditating on Lord Vishnu internally, but externally he was behaving like a madman, dull-headed person. So one day he was sitting near a rice field, and some dacoits came to Jada Bharat, and they wanted to kidnap him. So they forcefully dragged him to their den. Why? The king of the dacoits wanted a son. He wanted a nice son. And he wanted to worship Mother Kali and give her some bali. He wanted to kill, sacrifice, human sacrifice he wanted to do. He wanted to catch a dull-headed person, a foolish person, and kill him in front of Mother Kali, and Mother Kali will bless him with a child. So where in scriptures it is mentioned? Is it mentioned in some scripture? Kaunsa Purana? There are 18 Puranas, 4 Vedas, so many Upanishads. So where is it mentioned that if you kill a human being in front of Mother Kali, she will bless you with a nice child, nice son? But they have concocted this. This is called Swavidhana. Means they have concocted their own procedure of worshipping Mother Kali, and they wanted to kill Jada Bharat. So when Jada Bharat was about to be chopped by the main priest, they brought Jada Bharat and they fed him nicely, they dressed him nicely, they decorated nicely, they put some tilak, they gave him new clothes just to kill him. They were about to chop off his head. Then Mother Kali became so furious upon her own worshippers. Her deity got broke open and she jumped from the altar and she started beheading all these dacoits and playing football with them. And their blood was being drunk by all the pishachis around her. Because she was a Vaishnavi, she cannot tolerate Vaishnava-aparadh. She is also a great devotee. Now she is not so impressed with her own devotees who are worshipping her. Many times, the people who worship the devatas, they have some material desires, but these people had some desires to get some powers to steal and to get a nice son for their master, the leader dacoit. They had this material desire and they wanted to kill Jada Bharat. Similarly, many other people also, they worship Brahma, they worship Shiva, they worship many other devatas to get some material powers. Okay. So these devatas are impressed more with the devotees of Lord Vishnu than their own devotees. There are some people who approached Shiva and Brahma with a genuine desire to worship Lord Vishnu nicely. Okay, there are prachetas. They took guidance of Lord Shiva and Shiva guided them in worshipping Lord Vasudeva. That was very nice. But there is some devotee like Vrakasur. He's a demon. He worshipped Shiva with an intention to get a boon. What was that boon? If he puts his hand on somebody's head, that person should die. That person should break. That person should be burned to ashes. That was his desire. So he was searching everywhere. This Vrakasur wanted to understand whom should I worship to get my desire fulfilled. Then Narada Muni said, Shiva is very easy to be pleased. He's called Asutosha. You just worship him. Then he went and worshipped Lord Shiva. You know what was his worship? He kept a nice sacrificial fire. And he started taking flesh from his body and putting in that fire. Okay. That is his worship. Like that, he worshipped for a long time. And Shiva did not appear. He was not excited at all. And this Vrakasur became so frustrated that at one point he was about to chop off his head and put in the sacrificial fire. Then Shiva appeared from sacrificial fire and said, stop this nonsense. What do you want? Okay. Then he said, I have one desire. If I put my hand on somebody's head, he should die. My God, this is what you want. And for that you are calling me. You are worshipping me. Okay, take it. Then Vrakasur said, I want to test your boon by putting my hand on your head first. And you know what happened? Shiva started running away. And Vrakasur is running behind him. Then Lord Vishnu came as a little child in front of Vrakasur and said, what are you doing, Vrakasur? Then he said, my dear boy, I'm chasing Shiva. He gave me a boon. I want to test whether this boon works or not. I want to put my hand on his head. Then this little boy, who is actually Vishnu, he said, 100% sure. his boon will not work. Because earlier Daksha cursed him and he lost his powers. You see, you just test for yourself. You put your hand on your head, nothing will happen. And this boy completely mesmerized Vrkasur. Vrkasur foolishly kept his hand on his head and he was burnt to ashes. Right? He died. So, like that, Krishna has to come and protect. So, all these devatas, they have certain, some devotees, not all devotees, but some devotees are there. They just worship them for material desires. And they're not, these devatas are not very much pleased with their own devotees. And here is Kali. She was not pleased with her own devotees. She killed her devotees. Why? They are committing an offense to Vaishnava. Okay. So they wanted powers, but they lost their lives. So the effect of committing Vaishnava-aparadh. Okay. Next, go ahead. So devatas whom these Vaishnavas worship sometimes, the devatas themselves will punish them if they offend a Vaishnava. So devotees may tolerate a personal offense, but they cannot tolerate offense committed against another devotee, isn't it? Mother Kali, she was just keeping quiet when these people are doing so many things. But she could not keep quiet when they tried to kill Jadabharat. Because he's a Vaishnava and she's a Vaishnavi. As powerful Vaishnavi, she has to protect Vaishnavas. And Jadabharat did not protest in front of the dacoits. He said, "This is what the Lord wanted me to undergo. Okay, let me undergo." And he was oblivious. He was totally dependent on the Lord. Next, go ahead. And here you see Hanumanji. Hanumanji burned whole Lanka because Ravana was offending Sita Devi, offending Ram. So devotees cannot tolerate offense to another devotees. Next, go ahead. One needs to seek spiritual guidance from devotees rather than trying to exploit them for one's material and selfish purposes. Mother Kali or Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, all these great personalities, they are also devotees of Lord Vishnu. So they need to be worshipped, they need to be respected, and you can take guidance from them for your own devotional service and take blessings from them. But if you consider them as independent lords and worship them with material desires, then that's a problem. Okay. Next. There is another incident that happened in Jadabharat's life. So Jadabharat was sitting at one place and there was a king named Rahugana passing by on a palanquin. So kings are carrying, the kings are being carried on a palanquin by their soldiers. So this king has forcefully got some soldiers to carry his palanquin. So somehow they needed one more person. So they were searching for a new person, new volunteer. Volunteer means they voluntarily come to serve. They are supposed to come to serve voluntarily. But sometimes we force volunteers. Come, you should become a volunteer. I'm not volunteering. No, you are a volunteer. I'm appointing a volunteer. Then it's not a volunteer. So this pulled Jadabharat to Rahugana. And are you thin? Are you lean? Have you been carrying the palanquin for such a long time that you are so tired you are unable to move properly? Here he is very sarcastic. Jadabharat was not weak. He's not thin. He's not lean. He's stout and strong. And Jadabharat has not been carrying the palanquin for such a long time. He just joined. So he sarcastically, Rahugana sarcastically commented on Jadabharat, saying that you are not doing your job properly. Do it properly, otherwise I will punish you. Jadabharat kept quiet, moved ahead. Again, his movements were very erratic because there were ants on the road. And Rahugana became very furious. I'll punish you. Then Jadabharat turned back and told Rahugana, whom are you killing? Whom are you punishing? I'm a self-realized soul acting like a madman. There is no point punishing a madman. There is no use punishing a self-realized soul. Jadabharat got the shock of his life. What language is he speaking? Right? Definitely, no point punishing a self-realized soul. And no point punishing a madman. He will anyways not learn. So externally, Jadabharat was like a madman. Internally, he was a self-realized soul. So hearing this answer, our Rahugana came back to senses and he felt, looks like this is not an ordinary person. I must respect him. He just immediately jumped from his palanquin, fell at the feet of Jadabharat. Please tell me, who are you? Reveal your identity. Are you Kapaladev? Are you Lord Narayana? Are you Lord Dattatreya? Who are you? Are you like one of the four Kumaras? I am very much afraid of offending you. I'm sorry. Go to the next slide. He said this shloka. Okay, we'll decide the shloka. Show this one. Show that. Go back. By honestly repenting for one's offensive act and sincerely being forgiveness, the offender will be relieved from the grave reaction of Vaishnava-aparadh. Here, Jada Bharat was forcefully engaged by Rahugana to carry his palanquin, and Rahugana was even chastising Jada Bharat. And after he realized that Jada Bharat is not an ordinary soldier or ordinary palanquin carrier, he is a great Vaishnava. As soon as he realized it, he did not justify his mistake. He tried to rectify his mistake. When we commit a mistake, we should not justify it. We should rectify it. Okay. So Jada Bharat, Rahugana immediately jumped from the palanquin, fell at the feet of Jada Bharat immediately and said, "Sorry, I'm really sorry." Unknowingly, we may commit a mistake, but when we know that we have committed a mistake, we should be honest enough to admit it. When we realize we have committed a mistake, that realization should be followed by admitting the mistake. Realize the mistake, admit the mistake. Then apologize for the mistake. And try to rectify the mistake, don't justify the mistake. And try not to repeat that mistake and also remember the mistake. Got it? 6 points. Who will repeat this? There are 3 kids here. Who will repeat? When you do a mistake, what should you do? I will repeat now, then you repeat. Okay? So when you realize that you have done a mistake, when you have done a mistake, first try to realize that you have done a mistake. Realize. Okay? Got it, Shivam? Realize the mistake. Then admit the mistake. Don't hide it. Admit. Not that you have to announce the whole world, but at least admit in front of somebody, parents or deities. Okay? Admit the mistake. Then apologize for the mistake. Fine? Then 4th, try to rectify it. Don't justify it. 5th, try not to repeat it. Sincerely try it. Don't repeat the same mistake. Then 6th, remember the mistake. Now who will tell you? I want answer from 3 of you only. 1 of 3. 1 of you. Huh? Yes, Kirti. Realize the mistake. Huh? Admit the mistake. Loud. Apologize. Rectify. Don't repeat. And remember it. Okay. First 5 are okay. Why should we remember our mistakes?
We don't do it again.
So that we don't do it again. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? Any other advantage of remembering our own mistakes?
It keeps us humble.
Keeps us humble. Yeah, very good. Anything else? So, when we do a mistake, we repent, we regret, we feel embarrassed, we feel awkward, we feel humiliated. If you're genuine, okay. But some people, they do mistakes also. If they are dishonest, they are quite confident. So I'm telling about an honest person. When he commits a mistake, he becomes humble. By committing mistakes, he becomes humble. But by remembering mistakes, he remains humble. What happens is when we commit mistakes, we understand we are not so great. But after some time, when we overcome the mistakes and we improve ourselves and we come to a stage where we don't commit mistakes at all, then appreciate us, people glorify us, people praise us, then we may become proud. When people are appreciating us, you can be happy, but you should not be proud. So when some people are praising you and your eyes are going on top of your head, then you should remember, oh, 10 days back I have done this mistake. Last year I was so fallen. I did this, I did that. So the remembrance of our past mistakes will make us remain humble now. And not only remaining humble when some people are praising you, you also become grateful. I was here and now I'm here. I was doing hundreds of mistakes, now I'm not doing mistakes. So who brought this transformation in me? Who helped me to reach this level? There are so many people who assisted me, right? So that will help you become grateful to all these people. So by remembering your past mistakes, you will become humble and you'll become grateful. To those people, who helped you overcome your mistakes. Does it make sense? Right? We should become grateful. So come back to this story. Jada Bharat was forcefully engaged by Rahugana, and Rahugana, as soon as he realized the mistake, he admitted it, he apologized for it, he rectified it, and begged forgiveness. Right? And go back. I mean, go not back. I mean, go ahead. He said this shloka. Naham vishanke suraraja vajran natryaksha sulan nayamasya dandat najnyar soma nilavittapastrat shanke bhrisham brahma kulavamanat naham vishanke suraraja vajran natryaksha sula nayamasya dandat. You know what Rahugana said? I am not afraid of Suraraja Vajran. Who is Suraraja? Indra. Indra has Vajrayudha, right? Rahugana said, even if Indra comes and stands in front of me with his thunderbolt weapon, I am not afraid. Not Triyaksha Sulan. Triyaksha means one who has 3 eyes. Who has 3 eyes? Shiva. He had a Shula, right? Trishula. I am not afraid of Shiva's Trishula also. Na Yamasya Dandat. I am not afraid of Yamaraja's punishment also. Na Agni, Arka, Soma, Anila, Vittapastrat. I am not afraid of the weapons, astras of Agni Devata, Surya Devata, Chandra, this and that. Any Devata come with any weapon in front of me, I am not afraid of them. And on top of it, because I am a king, I am a warrior, I become excited to fight with them if needed. But although I am afraid, although I am not afraid of all these weapons of great personalities, I am very much afraid of Brahma Kulavamanat. Means I am afraid of offending a Brahmana, offending a Vaishnava. Please understand, offending a Vaishnava is more fearsome than Shiva's Trishula also, Yamaraja's punishment also, astras of all the great devatas also. So devatas, astras will not cause as much harm to us as Vaishnava-aparadh can cause. Vaishnava-aparadh is more dangerous than Shiva's Trishula and Yamaraja's Danda also. Right? Because when we are offending a Vaishnava, we are offending the heart of Krishna. So Rahugana said this. So by mistake, we may do some mistakes. Unintentionally, we may commit some mistake. And when we realize it, we admit it and apologize for it, and we may be forgiven for it. But when we intentionally commit a mistake, intentionally try to demean or discourage another Vaishnava, or hurt the hearts of devotees with sharp words, poisonous words, the devotee may not be hurt, but Krishna gets hurt. And sometimes devotees also get hurt. So it's very, very dangerous and it's detrimental to our spiritual progress. We need to be extremely cautious not to offend Vaishnavas, criticize Vaishnavas. Yes, if some struggling sadhakas make some mistakes out of lack of experience or maturity, we can rectify them. We can try to help them, support them, so that they can improve in their own devotional services. To that degree, we can even give feedback to them if required. If you are senior and if you have responsibility, you can even chastise them also, but all with a well-wishing intent, not in a way that you make the other person look stupid in front of 10 people. It's a responsibility of a superior to correct a younger person. You need to correct younger people, you need to rectify them. Sometimes, if required, you may have to be little strong and heavy, just to make them understand what's right and what is wrong, but not at the cost of discouraging the person. Whatever works. Sometimes, if you lovingly give an advice, they will accept and they will improve. And sometimes, you may have to be a little strong in your words so that they will take it more seriously. Whatever works, you do, but not in a way that spoils the inspiration of the other person to practice bhakti, right? Not in a way, such a way that they feel so embarrassed and so humiliated, and they feel that, my God, this devotee association is very austere. I cannot tolerate them. Not to kill whatever inspiration they have in performing bhakti, not to make them look so stupid in front of everyone, because everybody belongs to Krishna and Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, I'm putting gallons of blood to make one devotee. And if with our harsh words, if we demotivate another devotee, and if we kill the inspiration of another devotee to continue on the path of bhakti, Prabhupada will be disappointed. Krishna will be disappointed. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be disappointed. So we want us to be the cause of such a disappointment to our parampara. So we need to be extremely cautious and careful in our dealings with other devotees, especially the austerity of speech. We may not have weapons. As devotees, we were not carrying some shulas or bow and arrows or swords and shields, right? Our tongue is our weapon. So we need to utilize the tongue properly. So that's where most offenses will happen. We may not do physical offenses so much. Sometimes it may happen also, I don't know much, but verbal offenses. When we speak in very, very rude manner, that will hurt the hearts of people. That is violence. We may take vows. I will not do meat eating, intoxication, etc. So means no violence, no meat eating. But violence is not just not killing animals. Violence is also hurting hearts of other people. So we may commit more violence with our tongue by speaking than eating, right? So meat eaters may commit violence by eating the flesh of innocent animals, but harsh people will commit violence by using their tongue to speak harshly. Anyways, go ahead. One more story. I think lessons are getting more than stories. Yeah, here is another big chain. You know Daksha. I'll summarize the story. All of you know the story. Daksha entered this great sacrificial assembly where there are hundreds and thousands of sages and devatas and universal celebrities. And he went in front of Brahma and offered obeisances. And all the residents of that assembly, they got up to receive this great Prajapati Brahma with respect. Then Brahma went and offered dandavats to Lord Brahma. And next to Brahma, Daksha went and offered obeisances to Brahma. And next to Brahma was Shiva. And Shiva was meditating. He did not get up. He did not acknowledge the presence of Daksha. And Daksha became furious. Daksha became extremely angry. And he chastised Shiva. He offended Shiva in various ways. And he criticized him and he cursed him. May this Shiva not have a share of the sacrificial oblations. Any sacrificial oblations. And he left the assembly. Many people came and pleaded him. Hey, don't do this. You're a Prajapati. You are Daksha. You are the most prominent Prajapati. Your presence is required. He became angry. Now some people, right? They only become angry. गलती भी उनका ही गुस्सा भी उनका है. Right? They only become angry. They only chastise. They only do the mistake. They only become angry. They only get frustrated and they leave the place. So he left. Many people are pleading. He left. And to cut the long story short, Shiva was very tolerant. He kept quiet. After some time, Daksha started another sacrifice. And to that sacrifice, he called all the universal celebrities, including the devatas and sages, but he did not call Shiva and he did not call Sati also. Sati was the 16th daughter of Daksha. Generally, the youngest daughter is very favorite to the parents, right? So parents love their daughter, the youngest daughter, so much. So naturally, Daksha had more affection for Sati, but he gave up his affection towards Sati. Why? She's the wife of Shiva. So when the ego levels are so high, we give up our love for our own relatives or children because my sense of false prestige and ego is more important for me than love for my kids. He did not call, but Sati could not give up her love for the daughter, for the father. Father gave up love for the daughter, but daughter did not give love for the father. She went to Shiva. Let's go for the sacrifice. Shiva said, "Did you get invitation card?" No, we did not get invitation card. But why do you require invitation to go to father's house? You don't need invitation. Relatives, friends, you can go without invitation also, without RSVP also. So then, what Shiva said, yeah, that's true. We can go to friends' home, relatives' home, father's home, son's home, etc. if they have love. But if you go to their home, they will poisonously glance at you. They will, uh, they insult, they will insult you. It's not worth going to their houses. Better keep quiet, stay here. Don't worry. You sit here only. But Sati, to cut the long story short, long conversation short, Sati said that problem is with you. You envy my father. No, he is envying me. Then she said, when my father came to that sacrificial assembly, what's your problem? Why can't you get up? Why did you not get up? You should have stood up, right? And if you have just stood up that day, I could have gone to a sacrifice today. Then Shiva innocently said, I was meditating on Lord Vishnu. I did not intentionally disrespect your father. Actually, I was meditating on the Paramatma, and by respecting the super soul, I respected every living being, including Daksha. Sati said, why indirect respect? Go direct respect. So, anyways, Shiva said, no, no, you cannot go. It doesn't. It doesn't cause any benefit to you. Even die also. He said, even if my father mistreats me or disrespects me, I will tolerate it. He's my father. Then Shiva said, if someone else disrespects you, can tolerate. If the person whom you love so much disrespects you, cannot tolerate. Please understand this. But still, Sati could not understand. Sati was willing to go even against the advice of Lord Shiva, and she left. And Shiva understood, my God, emotions are so high. When emotions are so high, we cannot apply logic. That's the problem, right? That does not mean we become too logical and too philosophical that we ignore emotions of people. That also does not mean we become so emotional and so sentimental and become dysfunctional by not using any logic and rational analysis, right? So philosophy is there not to kill emotions, but philosophy is there to protect us from being extra overly emotional and thus become dysfunctional, right? So philosophy should be there. So Sati just could not apply any logic, and Shiva's logic did not make sense to her. She said, I'll just go. And Shiva kindly sent all the Nandi and many other Pramathaganas to accompany Mother Sati. And you know what happened? She went to Daksha, and Daksha did not receive her properly. She became very furious. She chastised Daksha, and she gave up her body by burning herself in fire. Long story in one sentence. Then Shiva became furious. He had sent Veerabhadra, and Veerabhadra beheaded Daksha. And later, Brahma went and pacified Shiva. Shiva, please forgive him. You are like a father. You are supposed to tolerate offenses of younger children. Please do something. Then Shiva kept a goat head on Daksha's body, and Daksha begged forgiveness. I'm sorry. Although he did it, still the poisonous mentality that he had towards Lord Shiva was very fierce, was very severe, that it haunted him even in the next lifetime also. See, Daksha did not commit any accidental mistakes or accidental offenses. The other day I was saying, when you accidentally offend a devotee, circumstantially offend a devotee, the repercussions, the reactions may be little minimal. You accidentally stamped on someone's leg in Kirtan and you said, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And he said, okay, no problem. But you purposely go and then stamp on his leg, right? Take a hatoda, take a, what is that, hammer, and then hit on his leg. That's purposeful mistake, right? The reaction should be more. Okay. So unintentional, incidental, circumstantial, occasional, such mistakes may be forgiven, but purposeful, premeditated offenses cannot be forgiven. Daksha's offense towards Lord Shiva is very deep rooted. It is a result of his envy. Shiva is one of the prominent devatas, the most prominent devata, actually speaking. His position is superior to Brahma also. Okay, although he is in charge of Tamoguna and Brahma is in charge of uh, Rajoguna, still Shiva's position as a Vaishnava is superior to Brahma also. And Daksha is always envying. Daksha is always envious of Shiva's exalted position. He could not tolerate. Actually, to become kind and compassionate, giving a right? And to give a helping hand to someone who is struggling is very easy. But to accept someone else's superiority over us, someone else's success is more difficult. To become kind, sympathetic, empathetic towards struggling people is easy compared to acknowledging the superiority of another person. It's very difficult to celebrate someone else's success and superiority over us. Why? When you're helping someone, you are here and they're here. Your sense of false prestige is kind of protected. And you also feel, yes, I'm helping these people. You're helping definitely, okay? But your status quo is maintained and your superiority is maintained. But someone else is superior to you, how comfortable you are. That shows how mature you are as a Vaishnava. So the maturity of being a devotee is in accepting the greatness of another devotee and celebrating the success of another devotee, not envying the devotee. Here is Daksha, also a devotee of Vishnu. Shiva is also devotee of Vishnu. But Daksha is envious of Lord Shiva, extremely envious of Lord Shiva. Okay, so that envy haunted him the next life also. He got this goat head body, right? And he gave up that body. In the next life, he became again Daksha. Go ahead, Prabhu. He became Daksha again, and he became a Prajapati. He had to, please, a couple of enters. Yeah. Say this. Mentally, go back. Back arrow. Thank you. Mentally envying a devotee.
One more time.
Back, Shivam. Mentally envying a devotee makes one commit offenses to him verbally and physically. We discussed it. Such a mentality makes one offend multiple devotees. Daksha chastised Lord Shiva, and in the assembly he also chastised Brahma. This Parameshti told me to give my daughter in marriage to this Shiva. Otherwise, I was never inclined to give my daughter to him. He offended another devotee also. Offensive attitude towards one devotee will make us offensive to more people who are connected to them. That's a misfortune. Thus, one should be very carefully curb such envious mentality. Go ahead. Next. Slowly present us. Yes. One more. Text. You can see the screen. Envy towards a person is an indirect appreciation. This is another important quality. Daksha was envying Shiva. Why? Shiva is in a very superior position. That means Daksha is indirectly appreciating Shiva's exalted position, isn't it? It's an indirect appreciation. You are envying that person because he has something which you don't have. He is something which you are not. That means being that or having that is a very privileged position, which you understand it. That means you're appreciating it indirectly. Instead of indirectly appreciating someone, better directly appreciate. That Daksha did not do. Okay. So next, go ahead. Yeah, presenter. Understand that without the Lord's sanction, no one can become successful or great. If I am envying another devotee, that's a greatest offense. Without Krishna's blessings, will that devotee be in that position? Will the devotee be able to do that service nicely? Means I am not sanctioning Krishna's blessings, I'm not very comfortable with the blessings that Krishna has personally given that devotee. My envy is towards Krishna in that sense. If I am not accepting Krishna's approval, Krishna's sanction, then I'm envious of Krishna. So envy towards another devotee is basically envy towards Krishna. And envy towards oneself. Yes, please go ahead. I think this PPT is very distracting. I'll just go with my flow. Lord Kapila says, even if somebody flawlessly worships him with meticulous standards and with perfect paraphernalia, if that person disregards other devotees, the Lord is not very pleased with such a worship. We should not disregard anyone, forget devotee. No living being should be unnecessarily insulted, and that will hurt the heart of the Lord naturally. Daksha became Daksha again in the next life as a Kshatriya. Earlier he was a Brahmana and now he became a Kshatriya. Then he had 11,000 sons. 10,000 sons called Haryashvas and 1,000 sons called Shavalasvas. And Narada Muni went to them and inspired them to take to devotional service seriously, and all of them became sannyasis. 11,000 sons of Daksha became sannyasis overnight with 5 minutes preaching. Okay. So Narada Muni converted all of them into great devotees, and Daksha became furious. He offended Narada Muni. He said, "You are a sadhu, you are sin personified, you are papa, you are a false renunciant. You have just put some saffron cloth upon yourself and you are calling yourself a Vaishnava. You are actually shame to the community of Vaishnavas." To this degree, Daksha offended Narada Muni. The lesson here is, because Daksha was offensive to Lord Shiva, later he became offensive to Narada Muni also. When we have deep rooted offensive mentality towards one Vaishnava, we start offending many other people also, even in the next lifetime. So therefore, we need to curb this. So it's like a chain. One offense leads to another offense. So these are several problems with Vaishnava-aparadh, and there are many more problems. So we discussed a few stories and few principles and shlokas. So I think we'll conclude here. There are many more stories like this. The other day we were discussing, right? Lakshman offended Bharat by misunderstanding him, and later Sita misunderstood Lakshman, and Ram kind of pointed out Sita. So the Lord is not pleased when we misunderstand other devotees, when we offend other devotees or criticize them. Even if they're struggling sadhakas, we need to be respectful and empathetic and sympathetic and not become offensive. And even if we have to correct some younger devotees, uh, that should be done with grace and love and affection with a sincere intention. When the intentions are pure, then people will get the vibrations. But when we are correcting someone with bad with a sense of superiority complex, people will get vibrations. The vibes are very evident. We cannot hide our emotions for a longer time. When there is a genuinity in our intentions, people will get those vibrations and they will connect with us with genuinity. But when we have a sense of superiority complex or envy or pride, people will get those vibrations sooner or later, and it's actually offensive. Even if they don't get, even if they're so innocent not to recognize our mentalities, still, because we have those mentalities, Krishna will not be happy. We cannot chant properly. We cannot do our devotional service properly with having some negative thoughts towards other Vaishnavas. So, along with practicing pure devotional service to the best of our ability, we should also be very respectful and loving towards other Vaishnavas. That will make our experience of Krishna consciousness very enlivening. Otherwise, it's very exhausting. And there are so many offenses and negative thoughts in the mind, we will not be able to relish the path of Krishna consciousness properly. We'll get exhausted. We'll get really bored, and we will lose taste in bhakti by committing Vaishnava-aparadh. So you all please pray for me so that I don't offend devotees. And if I have offended any of you in the last 4 5 days that I'm here, please forgive me for that. And we are all work in progress, work in progress. Not we, at least I am work in progress. So, but let the work be in progress and not halt. If we commit Vaishnava aparadh, the work will stop progressing. So I seek your blessings for my continued services with proper consciousness and not become proud or envious or deviate from the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. I seek your blessings. With this, I'll conclude. Grathara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Any questions, comments? 1, 2. Okay. 3. Yes. You decide. I don't know. You are the decision maker. Yes, bro. I saw Matri first. We'll take a question. Yes, Matri.
Prabhu, you had
Thank you very much. Very thought provoking lecture. You had mentioned that devotees first don't take, say we are not at that level.
Mm.
And
We get offended
we,
sometimes.
either something offensive happens to us or we witness someone else getting offended. How do we know when should we adopt the attitude of Ambarish Maharaj and do nothing and say Krishna will protect us? And when should we adopt the attitude of Jada Bharat and actually say something? Jada Bharat said, um,
Yes.
it's no point punishing a madman or
Yeah,
a
correct, correct.
sorceress.
Good question. Thoughtful question. So we should be humble. We should be tolerant. But in the name of being humble and tolerant, we need not allow ourselves to get exploited. When people are acting inappropriately and taking undue advantage of our lenience or our modesty, we should do the needful to protect ourselves from such exploitation, but by upholding Vaishnava culture, not deviating from Vaishnava culture. You may disapprove the deed or the treatment of another devotee. If the treatment is not appropriate, they are mistreating us, they are not appropriately treating us. We can disapprove it politely, gently. We may not imitate their behavior, but we can disapprove it gently, and then we can protect ourselves. Okay. However, unless it is a very serious abuse, the general recommendation is we tolerate and not terminate the relationship. If it goes beyond certain boundaries, of course, we need to speak out and then express our concerns in a very Vaishnava way, uh, and and just protect yourself from any unnecessary turmoil. That much we should do, but expression should be more genuine. Just because someone else is deviating from Vaishnava culture, that does not mean we deviate from our Vaishnava culture. That's important, because we may be dealing with so many sadhakas who are not completely perfect, completely pure, either in their intentions or actions or their devotional maturity. But mm, but we should respect them. But if their actions are inappropriate, if their mind is like too affected by either greed or envy or exploitative tendencies, so we may maintain a respectful distance. Just like somebody has COVID, you stay away, you quarantine them. You may love the person, you may respect the person, you may not go and then embrace the person because you get affected. Okay. So sometimes body gets affected with some virus, sometimes mind gets affected with the virus of envy or selfishness or greed or pride. So because the mind is affected by virus, we must stay ourselves, stay little distant, stay little away from such people so that we don't get affected by them so much. But that does not mean we become unnecessarily judgmental. But if the problem is really evident, it's very clear, not only you, 10 other people are also noticing it, okay, we may just maintain safe, respectful distance and pray for the other person and protect ourselves. Okay. So this can be done for all practical purposes. But if the other person is causing problem to 10 other people, then we should take a serious action. On a personal level, what is recommended is we should tolerate as much as possible. Okay. But if it's going beyond certain boundaries, we can maintain some distance. But if the other person's activities are causing trouble to 10 other people, 20 other people, then we should just do the needful. Especially when we are in a responsible position, we have to take some action. If we are not having any position as such, we can even escalate the matter, responsibly escalate the matter to someone who can make a difference in the situation. Makes sense? Yes, Prabhu.
So, so we were saying, right, that Narad Muni says that when you meet somebody superior,
Mm.
then you should not envy, should serve them, learn from them. But we may be erring in our judgment
Mm.
about who is superior, who is inferior, who is equal, because just because we have been in the movement for long number of years, somebody may have done in their past life and they may be more advanced coming into Krishna consciousness, they may be more advanced. And so,
You can keep them separate.
so I think yesterday we were talking about how
Yes, you can be little louder, that's all, sufficient.
so yeah, I can speak loudly. So there is a verse that Prabhu was quoting. Narad Muni in the 4th canto says that somebody you meet superior, then you don't envy that person, you serve the person, learn from the person, and you meet equal, then you make friendship, you meet somebody lower than you, then you are compassionate to the person, like that. So how do we know who is superior, who is inferior? Just because I know so many shlokas more than somebody else, or I may have distributed more books than somebody else, or I may have decorated Diti, doesn't make me more advanced than the other person, because it's an internal matter of the heart, right? Somebody is advanced, somebody is, and that we cannot perceive. So yesterday we were discussing that we should have this tulsi, that Trinadapi Sunichena. So I should think that others are more advanced. Trinadapi Sunichena means I am lower than the other Vaishnavas, because we can be erring in our judgment, and to a superior Vaishnava I may think he's inferior, and I may be saying, oh, I need to correct him, or I need to show mercy to him, but actually he's more superior to you. So how does this how do you resolve this
Yes,
controversy?
the Vaishnava is one who always thinks oneself inferior to everyone. But that is not inferiority complex. There is no complexity there. There is only humility. Prabhupada, once he was giving a class and somebody asked him that, are you guru of everyone? And Prabhupada said, I'm everyone's servant. You see, I'm everybody's servant. So that's the mode. But Prabhupada is guiding people, instructing people, correcting people if they go wrong. So for all practical purposes, a Uttamadhikari also comes on the Madhyama plane and discriminates people as favorable people, innocent people, envious people. He deals in 4 ways: Prema, Maitri, Kripa, Upeksha. Prema, he loves the Lord. Maitri, he befriends devotees. Kripa, he shows compassion on inferior or younger people or new people or innocent people, ignorant people. Upeksha, he stays away from little envious people, right? So for practical purposes, we need to be on the Madhyama platform where we discriminate and where we show these 4 levels. At Uttama level, yes, everybody is a pure devotee. So I'm the most fallen, I'm the most inferior. So we need to come to Madhyam level from that Uttam level. Yes. So internally, we should have that understanding. We need to have that mood of respecting everyone for what they are. So when I see these little kids who are born and brought up in Krishna consciousness, already knowing so many shlokas and pastimes, I feel so inferior. 2 decades, more than 2 decades of my life, I just was here and there. I didn't know anything about Bhagavatam and all. But they know many stories of Bhagavatam. They're giving Bhagavatam classes. In the car, he's giving Bhagavatam class. With Jayarada Madhav. And she gave Bhagavatam class and Rishabdev. And morning he was answering so nicely in Brahma Mohanila Shivam. So, yes, that's superior, definitely. But when they come to ask some questions, ask some doubts, we have to tell them. Right? Oh, you're superior to me, I'll not answer this question. Right? I fall at your feet. The training will not happen, right? So for all practical purposes, we need to acknowledge someone's experience in Krishna consciousness and then deal with them accordingly. But at heart, we need to maintain that special souls. They're great. I'm not so great. So we should focus on our shortcomings, not to become depressed, but to improve, to be humble. And we should focus on others' strengths, to respect them, not to be sentimental. Right? So that's the balance. I hope it makes sense. Okay. Any other question or comment? Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Your lecture was enlightening, and again, I learned a lot. Got about 6 questions, but not going to ask you all the questions.
Questions. It's another 6 questions.
No, I'm not going to ask you all the 6 questions. I try to concise in a 2 or 3 probably.
Okay.
The
First one at a time.
one, yes, I ask you one by one if you could allow me. The first question I have is that um, how do you do atonement to your Vaishnava-aparadh if the person or the Vaishnav you committed offense, and by the time you realize that Vaishnav has already left the material world, or you already committed the offense to the Vaishnavas who already left the material world, how do you do atonement to those such aparadhs?
The first atonement is Paschatap. Atonement is Prayashchitta. And Paschatap is the best form of Prayashchitta. What is Paschatap? Repentance. Prabhupada writes in the first canto, 18th chapter. All the reactions to one's sinful activities or offenses are burnt in the fire of honest repentance. When we honestly repent for our mistakes, when we honestly feel guilty for our mistakes, not in a mood to justify them, but only in a mood to rectify them, we are condemning ourselves for doing whatever we have done, not in a mood of getting into depression, but in a mood of improving ourselves from where we are, right? So that honest repentance is the best form of atonement. Okay. And apart from that, you want to do something more, you can go and serve the devotees. You can serve those, if they are already departed from the world, you can go in front of their photographs or samadhis and then offer prayers to them. Wherever you are, please give Krishna, please facilitate, please help that my apologies reach that Vaishnava. So we just beg for mercy, pray for mercy. And we can even help those people who are connected to that person closely. There are multiple ways, but first thing is honest repentance, genuine regret, right? And when sincere apology, not any fake or formality apology. Sorry, bola na, okay. Not like that. I already apologized. What else you want? Not that way, but you should be genuine. Okay. Question number 2.
Yes, question.
Are you satisfied with answer?
Yes, I'm completely. Thank you, Hare Krishna. The second question I have is about this is the normal day-to-day life that we actually come across with these examples. One of them is that many times it's like a demand and supply. Somebody really wants to, there is a devotee or Vaishnav who actually approach you and actually commits, like they try to do a prad towards a third devotee. Like, for example, you and me, I come and meet you, and then I talk about another devotee. So actually, I'm actually condemning the third devotee, and you are also interested of the derogatory remarks that I'm making about that third devotee. So how does that affect to my bhaktis and probably your bhaktis, or even if you hear that, how do you do atonement, or probably how can you rectify that?
Yes, very practical, very important question. So Prabhu is saying, if devotee A goes to devotee B and speaks the bad qualities of devotee C, and if devotee B is also taking more interest in digging deep into the bad qualities of devotee C, and their machitta madgata prana is more towards devotee C, so how do we handle it? Gossip, yeah, that's the right word. Gossip. If devotee A and devotee B happen to be the leaders of that community, and they have the responsibility to maintain the sanctity of that Vaishnava community by subduing or correcting or rectifying any wrong mentalities, then the discussion about devotee C between devotee A and B are valid. It's valid. It's required. Because the devotee C may have certain shortcomings which are troubling 10 other people in the community. And this devotee A and B are in management, they're leaders, they're supposed to discuss what's the problem. They may have to dig deep into what's the problem and discover and find out what exactly is it, and then come up with a solution. Maybe it's required to rectify that person, give a warning or caution notes and a mail to that person, just to problem. and if I'm not directly being affected by it also, right? Just idle gossip, just sitting together and then discussing about the shortcomings of other people. Even if the shortcomings are really shortcomings also, how is it beneficial for your life? We are ruining our own lives. So there is no point discussing about the shortcomings of another devotee if you are not responsible to uplift the situation. If your discussion is helping the person or helping the situation, it's valid. And if you are in a responsible position, then it's valid. But idle gossip will only contaminate our own brains, our own minds, and will diminish our taste in Harikatha and Harikirtan. If you want to take that risk, then discuss, dig deep. but if you don't want to take that risk of losing our taste in Harikatha and Harikirtan, then better be very judicious in our discussions. That's why Vachitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantaha Parasparam Kathayantasya Mam Nityam. We should always discuss Harikatha as much as possible. Other discussions are there as some practical requirements, but the main subject matter of discussion when two devotees come together is Krishna's glories. Parasparanu Kathanam Pavan Bhagavad Yashaha Mithoratihi Mithaha Tushtir Nivrit Mitha Atmanaha. I oftentimes say this only. Let us not restrict our Krishna Katha to only mic and Zoom call and this video recordings and sound systems. Let us bring in the culture of discussing about Krishna in our private, personal conversations also. That's the most effective way of becoming Krishna conscious individually and collectively. If in a community of devotees, if every devotee is committed to discussing Harikatha in their private conversations, where is the time for gossip? Where is the time for Vaishnava Ninda? Okay. And if everybody is in that consciousness of glorifying Krishna, then the number of mistakes also will reduce. Number of people who have certain shortcomings and frailties also will reduce. Then management also will become very smooth. Right? If a community is committed to discussing Harikatha, then that's the most nourished and mature community. So that's how we need to grow and try to minimize our discussion on other topics. Let's not restrict Krishna Katha discussions to only official and formal gatherings. Let's have informal gatherings to discuss Krishna Katha. Even a casual conversation in Vrindavan is the glories of Krishna. Even gossip in Vrindavan is Harikatha. Gossip is about Gopal. See, Krishna came to my home and stole this butter. And one Gopal says, Krishna came and he released our calves before milking time. That constantly discussing about Krishna, that gossip is Harikatha only there. Let us do the gossip of Krishna Katha. Okay, thank you. Two sufficient. Any other person has questions? Anyone else? Yes. Let's take other questions. Sorry, bro. Thank you. Two questions we already. Yes, Mataji.
If we unintentionally hurt someone, like we are trying to do our best, but they get hurt, like we have the example of Sanatan Goswami, he was doing meditation in his Manasi Seva, he was serving Radharani, and he smiled, and the one person was limping, he walked and his meditation broke. So if we are losing taste in bhakti, does that mean that we have unintentionally offended someone, and how do we figure it out if we have done that?
Could be. It may be the result of unintentionally hurting another Vaishnava, but unintentional mistakes are generally forgiven, and circumstantial mistakes are generally little forgiven. For example, you are in charge of cooking on some Sunday feast. Tomorrow is Sunday feast, right? You are in charge of cooking, and there are 10 devotees who are supposed to help you. They have to cut sabjis, and somebody is cutting sabji in a different style than what is expected. Hey, not like that, not like that. Out of excitement and anxiety to do service nicely, he may become little heavy with another devotee or give a feedback. But it's understood, it's a part of service. It's not to be taken as an offense. But if you realize that the other devotee felt a little uncomfortable because of that, it's not always possible to meet. Prabhu, please cut the sabji nicely. Can you please cut it quickly? Here that choke is getting burned, and he's just cutting like this with an earphone in his in his ears, right? Not being getting. We have to give feedback. You have to tell them, right? So, to the degree your intention is just to serve and not to hurt the Vaishnava, and whatever feedback you are giving or correction you are giving is only with the pure intention to get the service done properly, then it's not technically an offense. But in this process, if you feel that the other person became uncomfortable, you can always say sorry. You can always say sorry. Okay. But you don't have to worry so much about it. You can't always, today I was sleeping in Japa. Whom did I offend yesterday? You just kind of, more than Japa, you're thinking about that offense only. So we don't have to overthink. Just continue with all integrity and care, and Krishna will take care. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have kept some books over there. Those are the books that are written by Prabhu. 9 varieties of books here actually. We don't have all Prabhu's books here. Whatever is available, I just kept it there. If you want, you can grab from there. Prabhu can sign it for you. And tomorrow we have Sunday feast program, and